and welcome to Brilliant Creatures.
This is the show where you can meet some of the world's most amazing animals.
I'm Stephen.
I'm Gail.
And here are some of the stars on today's show.
Check this out, we're moments away from a Brilliant Creatures challenge. I'm going to try talking to the animals Dr. Dolittle style, but will these wolves respond?
In Do It Yourself, how to find your very own homing snails.
And Gal finds out what it's like to get close to dolphins when she helps zoo vet David Taylor give them the once-over.
And meet a real-life monster of the deep, a crab that'll grow to be as big as a car.
Wouldn't it be great to be able to talk to animals? Well, I'm no Dr. Dolittle, but the Brilliant Creature Challenge today is to be able to communicate with this pack of Canadian timber wolves. I think he likes me. But the question is, how? Or should I say, how?
Oh, Stephen. Well, we've all tried this at the zoo, haven't we? And to pretty much the same effect. Absolutely nothing.
That's because there's more to howling than you may imagine. You need to be taught, and I know because I've had a masterclass from a man who is fluent in talking wolf. Just have a look at this.
He wants to be a presenter.
Okay, this is Sean, and he's going to teach me how to talk wolf. Okay, so when I do the howl, they're going to be threatened. They feel as though they're going to be threatened. Not really.
You okay then?
It just sounds funny.
I know. Just keep it nice and low. Pick a note, nice and low, and just sound it out. And fill your lungs and just let it go.
Stop looking at me.
That's all right. Second, yeah. And then a few seconds, and then repeat again. That's good.
Do you think I've got it?
I think you're ready.
Really?
Yeah.
Here we go.
I'll tell you what, Stephen, you look like a bit of a natural there.
Well, I do try.
Now, let me explain why we're actually out here now. We're not in with the wolves anymore because Stephen's going to do his howl in a minute. So we're standing here with our backs to them so that they can't see it's Stephen who's doing the howling because they won't respond otherwise because they'll know he's not a wolf. And also, you saw earlier how overexcited they can get, so it's a bit safer for us to be out here right now. So go on then, in your own time, talk wolf.
Right.
The wolves are starting to respond. They're really listening to Stephen. They're starting to pace up and down. They've got their ears pricked up. Look, they're licking each other's mouths. There's a bit of a fight going on. One of them's even rolling round on the ground, scent marking its territory.
Do you know what all this means, you know? It means I can talk wolf.
Card 8 of 10. Name, Peeper Peeper. Also known as the Surinam toad. Special power, Backbuster Blaster. The babies of this bizarre-looking Surinam toad hatch out of their mother's back. The baby toads burst through a crust of skin that the female has grown over her young for protection.
My feathered friend here is a clever little pigeon. Its special trick is that you can take it miles away from its home and somehow it can find its own way back. Now, it's called a homing pigeon, but the question is, have you ever heard of a homing snail?
It's true. Amazingly, snails do have a homing instinct. Just like pigeons, if you move a snail away from its home, somehow it finds its own way back. And as this is the part of the programme where we show you how to do it yourself, here's how you can witness this amazing feat of nature with your very own homing snails.
Now, snails find their home during the day in dark, damp places, so search for them under leaves, also under bricks, under plant pots,
or under stones. Now this one's obviously a lot bigger than the garden snails that you'll find. This one's a giant African land snail, and we're just using it today because it's easier for you to see.
Now, to keep track of your snails, what you need to do is get your hands on some model paint or some snail varnish, and you need to mark numbers on each snail. Now, make sure you use like a brownie coloured nail varnish. That way it won't ruin the snail's natural camouflage. But we're going to use a brighter colour so it shows up under all the studio lights. Here we go, let's give him the number 2.
Now, you need to keep a record of your snails, and if you've got access to a computer, you can go to the Brilliant Creatures website. And we'll give you the address at the end of the show. Now, click on DIY, then on Homing Snails, like that. And there you'll find this brilliant homing snail chart. Now, you make a record of your snail number, so that one's number 2. And you record where it was found, and that was under a rock. And you can even give your snail a name. I think I'll call this one Stephen.
Now, when you've recorded all the information, you now need to put it to the test. And here's how you do it. You take your snail and you move it a few metres away from its home, where you found it, and you see if it can make its own way back home. Now, leave it overnight, that's when they're more active, and if it does find its way all back home, then take the snail and move it even further away and see if it still works. And if it gets really good at it, why don't you take him on holiday and see if he can make his way back home then? I'm only joking.
But it really does work, so why not do it yourself and get your very own brilliant homing snails?
In order to get our hands on wet and watery creatures too big for our studio pool, Gal and I spent a week working with zoo vet David Taylor at Marineland in the south of France.
Now, he's responsible for the health of loads of animals, including penguins, sharks, and even killer whales. But today, it's a special health check for everyone's favourite brilliant creature. These are brilliant bottlenose dolphins, and like all the animals here, they have to have regular health checks from David. But the trouble is, how do you examine an animal in 5 metres of water? Well, the answer is you don't. David doesn't go in with the dolphins come to him. So David, what are we going to do today?
Well, today we're just going to do a very simple visual inspection. I mean, she's looking in fabulous condition. She's not showing any sign of neck. She's got a good weight.
It's fantastic skin.
It's wonderful skin. And of course, oddly enough, they can drink through their skin.
Really?
See those little black dots?
Yeah.
Those are the follicles from which, when she was a baby, her whiskers grew. And those 5 or 6 whiskers, which rub off from the friction of the water during the very first weeks of life, are another bit of evidence that dolphins are not fish, they're mammals.
And what about her eyes? She's got all that sort of snotty stuff coming out of her eyes.
Yes, well, that thick, syrupy stuff is actually tears. And the purpose of that is to stop the friction of the water when they're moving fast through the sea from damaging the eyeball.
And what about hearing? Because dolphins don't have ears, do they?
They do have ears, and you can actually see the little tiny dot, which is the external ear, there.
Yeah.
That's what they hear through, but it's not the only place they hear. We also hear, would you believe, from the tip of the beak,
Yeah, she's giving
through
a
the
lovely
teeth,
smile.
and through their armpits.
They hear through their armpits.
Yes, you can't do that.
Well, I tell you what, I knew dolphins were fantastic creatures, but today what have I learned? I've learned that they hear through their armpits, they've got syrupy tears, and they can drink through their skin. What brilliant creatures! Dolphins are mammals just like us, and just like us, they can't breathe underwater, but they've adapted so well to water that they spend their whole lives there, without any need for any of this stuff. This was my first time swimming with dolphins, and as soon as I dropped down under the water, I realised just how fast and powerful they actually are.
Dolphins can reach speeds of 35 kilometres an hour, with 6 of them flying towards me. I just hope they had good brakes. I spent the best part of an hour with those dolphins, and I saw just how beautifully adapted they are to a life under the waves. Dolphins can dive to more than 500 metres, which is twice the depth that a human could reach, even with specialist scuba diving equipment. Sadly, as my oxygen levels began to drop, I had to return to the surface.
I don't know what to say. It was so amazing. I just didn't want to come up. It's been the most fantastic thing I've ever done in my life. Okay, now's the part of the show when we're going to put your and Stephen's very limited animal knowledge to the test, because we're going to play you an animal call and you've got to guess which brilliant creature made it.
I am actually laughing in embarrassment because I'm not doing too well, but I do not know what the animals are, seriously. But they're definitely animals that you and I have heard of before. So good luck to you and good luck to me.
Not doing too well, you're absolutely dreadful. Have a listen to this. Oh, it's scary, that one. I don't like it. What do you think?
Can we play it again? Go on.
Come on, stab in the dark. First one, it's not a pig.
A giraffe.
It's not a giraffe. It is actually a striped hyena. Now, hyenas are known for laughing, but they're the spotted ones that laugh. The striped ones don't actually make very much noise at all, but when they're threatened, they make that horrible howl. Oh, Stephen.
Because we know so little about the ocean floor and the pitch-black waters that wash over it, the creatures that live there remain a secret to us.
Throughout history, people have told stories of monsters of the deep, mythical beasts that dragged ships below the waves and ate all those on board.
But there is one deep-sea monster that we know definitely exists because it's here right now in the Brilliant Creature Studio.
And here it is. This is a Japanese giant spider crab. It's the first ever to arrive in the UK, and it lives in the National Sea Life Centre in Birmingham in a specially designed tank.
But normally they can be found stalking the waters of Japan 300 metres below the waves of the Pacific Ocean. Now, normally the crab goes onto the bottom of the ocean and scrapes away looking for anything from dead animals to shellfish. Now, at the moment, this one is still young, but already it measures 1 metre from claw to claw. And when fully grown, it will reach a length of 3.8 metres. That's
As big as this car!
making this crab the biggest in the whole world. Look at him. Oh, a true monster of the deep. And this gives you an idea of how truly monstrous that is. Just have a look at its claws. Imagine the damage that could do to someone. I'll tell you what, this is one deep-sea monster you wouldn't want to meet in the murky waters of its ocean home.
These crabs are thought to live for up to 100 years, giving this guy plenty of time to grow.
A Japanese giant spider crab, a true monster of the deep.
And a totally brilliant creature.
And next time, meet these guys, brilliant creatures that can glide through the air.
We also have something for you to try at home. In the next Do It Yourself, we show you how to make a brilliant brain teaser and put your garden birds to the test.
Plus the cannibals of the sea, sharks. Find out how Stephen manages when he helps to capture a shark and tries his hand feeding a slippery ray, all on the next Brilliant Creatures.
Well, that's it for today's show.
If you want to check out our website, the address is at the bottom of your screens now.
And we'll see you very soon to meet more of the world's brilliant creatures.
Bye!